Alrighty, what is up, my skibbity sigmas? I'm actually doing a video for once. I know, shocker. I think it has been a solid year. And I actually can't even remember the last video that had me speaking in it that wasn't from a live stream. Either way, I am going to be listing every single upgrade in Bloons Tower Defense 5 because that is a game I've been playing a crap ton lately. And that's what I felt like doing. Now, there's going to be a few notes. Number one is, I actually don't even have all the images memorized. There's probably going to be a few that I'm going to have a brain fart with and not know exactly what it's for, especially for like some of the tier 2s, where their better upgrade typically gets overwritten. But either way, that will be interesting to have to deal with. And also, this is going to be based off how I play, which is NAIP, which is just no agents, injections, or premiums. Basically, nothing that you can just get an infinite amount of, or OP broken shit like double cash. So, if you're somebody who likes playing nap swirls, well, this is probably going to be completely different. Also, I don't play, I almost said impossible, mastery mode like at all. I've played it on some of the beginner maps, but that's really it. So this is basically going to be in the normal map playthrough, not the mastery mode one, which I'm sure some of these will definitely be pretty different there. So, I will. Also, I'm not going to factor in free play probably basically at all because who even cares about free play outside of getting a high round for the funny? You can't get any rewards in free play. XP, when you're first starting out, is basically zero. You're better off just starting a new map, so there really is no point. Anyways, also, this is also the first tier list I've done where I actually put plus and minus grades because there's just so many goddamn upgrades that I feel like I think it's 6, whatever it was, is not enough. Also, screw you if you do S. Have you ever gotten an S grade in school? No. The top is A. I hate people that do that. It's annoying. It could be the people that do double S or triple S. They're turbo cringe, but whatever. First one is I don't even remember the name. It's the pineapple upgrade that Ace has. That pineapple present. That is the quickest F I have ever seen. This upgrade is almost nothing. I feel like the only time you might ever see this upgrade doing something is if you're doing like a special challenge with yourself, and it's like the only way the pop leads. That is the only time you will ever notice this doing anything. And odds are, unless you're microing the hell out of the Ace, it's not going to do anything. Period. Pineapples in this game are big doo-doo, and getting an upgrade like this, I mean, better than just buying the actual pineapple, because it's so goddamn cheap, but if it wasn't the fact that Spy Plane was above it, and you're probably going to want that for camo detection, you wouldn't even touch this upgrade. Next one is a little bit tricky, Glaive Ward. It's kind of cheeks, but it's also not like utter trash. I'm probably going to move a lot of these around as I go, but I think C, at least right now, is a pretty good placement. I mean, the thing is pretty good against balloons, but as soon as any MOB class enters the screen, well, boomerangs suck against MOBs, especially the Glaive Ward. It is trash. Those spinning rings around it do basically nothing. The added camo detection is, well, I guess it's something, but I mean, at that stage, you probably can already afford some other way to pop camo, so it doesn't really mean anything. Though I'm pretty certain the Glaive Ward gets increased attack speed, so, I mean, it's not like basically taking the upgrade before it and slapping camo detection on it. It is a little bit better, but I don't think it's really enough worth it for the price. You're better off just getting more lower tier boomerangs. Next one, this one, pretty easy. A or A minus. I wouldn't go all the way up to say A plus, because granted, his ability is really only that useful in free play, but it is pretty cheap, and it really does help a lot in round 77 through 85. So I'm probably gonna go with minus, just because its ability is so good, but the tower itself is just, I mean, you're getting this for its ability. It doesn't, I'm pretty sure it does not buff the tower whatsoever. So, really, really good at those last few rounds, but it itself doesn't really get much of a boost like some other ones do. This one is one of the ones that I actually forget, but I checked because I have sandbox mode pulled up on my phone. It is the enhanced freeze upgrade, which was actually pretty good because ice towers have just poopy range and they really need it. So, but I wouldn't go crazy and put it anywhere high because, I mean, it's just increased range and the freeze time lasts a little bit longer. But when you're using ice towers, unless you're spamming the lower tiers, the freeze length doesn't really mean too much. It's just mostly because if you're getting ice towers, you're either getting the Arctic wind, which you're really using just the slowdown for. The freeze is just a benefit, or you're getting ice shards, which basically one-shots any balloon, especially if there's a bunch of others near it. It won't do much if there's some on their own, but the freeze length basically doesn't matter, but the extra range is just huge, especially for ice shards. It really needs it. I mean, you don't have a choice with Arctic Wind, but if you were to take that range boost away from Arctic Wind, it wouldn't make much of a difference. So this is definitely a stepping stone upgrade. I guess I'll throw it in minus for now. I know for a fact I'll be moving some things later. Alrighty, this one. I'm pretty sure that's Deadly Precision, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yes, alright, it is. This is probably going to be my first hot take. Top path snipers suck. They are just, the bottom path is just so much better. I mean, you're getting actually 3 more DPS with the semi-auto rifle, which is going to be coming up, than you are with the Deadly Precision. Like, it's just, I really don't see much of a point to ever getting Deadly Precision at all on its own. And even though this isn't gonna matter for this specifically, the cripple Moab ain't worth it either, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I would say it's better than Glavord at least, because it's still decent for Moabs, but good enough to be above the tier? I'm gonna put it right in front of it for now. Alright. A mortar upgrade. Not an avid mortar user, so I don't know off the top of my head which one that is. Looks like it's top path. Okay, it's the increased accuracy one. Not really that needed, because if you're going top path mortar, the explosion radius is so big the accuracy ain't gonna matter, but I mean, you have to get this regardless. So, and honestly, if you're going bottom path and you're going all the way up, the attack speed gets so high that the accuracy just, I mean, you don't really need it. It barely matters. It isn't as much of an accuracy change as you would think, so I would say the enhanced freeze is better than it. I would probably go C+. That would make sense. Alrighty, we got, I presume that is supposed to be the semi-auto rifle, and that is a fantastic sniper upgrade, I gotta say. Like I said, it's already better than the Deadly Precision, but even if it did the exact same DPS as the Deadly Precision, it shooting faster can have a chance of it actually hitting more balloons. Because, let's say theoretically this did 6 damage instead of 7, that would mean the Deadly Precision and the semi-auto would do the same DPS, but this would be better with balloon clusters, which I use a lot of it with those. They're really good at helping with ceramics, and they're not that expensive. There are better ceramic options, but this is definitely something that's pretty good for handling them, since it'll break them down in the blues in just 2 shots. Get a couple of those, most of the ceramic rounds are all dealt with, so definitely a pretty high one. I don't think I'd put it on the same level. Would I? Probably right before, because the ability for the ninja, the sabotage ability is definitely a better benefit. It's about the same price too. Yeah, I think that's what we'll go right off with. Alrighty, this is a heli pilot upgrade, but I think it's bottom path because those are the top path are usually the ones that overwrite. It's the I almost just said pursuit. Bigger jets. That I'd say is pretty important for the heli pilot. It flies really damn slow, and unless you're having it lock in place, this is definitely pretty necessary. However, if you're using the bottom path and you're trying to like micro to get the ability, this does nothing because, well, you're not moving your heli pilot at that rate. So, though, if you do use anything other than lock in place, this thing is pretty good. I say it's probably close to enhanced freeze, where one of its boost basically doesn't do much. And here, it is only one boost, but depending on how you use your heli pilot, this is either going to be really good or completely useless. So, we'll put it right below the enhanced freeze for now. Alright, I'm pretty sure that's double shot, right? No, it's not. That is the balloon jetsu. This upgrade is really damn good. Definitely worth the price, and I would 100% say it is better than the sabotage. If we were going free play, the sabotage would be way better, but by far the balloon jetsu is a better tower if you're not using any glitches like trying to resell the damn sabotage to constantly refresh it. But honestly, if you're doing that, you would just use the absolute zero. So they're both about the same price. Hell, this is technically more expensive because its previous upgrades are more expensive. So definitely putting an A is good because it's really good against balloons, and against regular Moabs it will definitely do a good job with just one or two of them. Alrighty, downdraft. This thing is awful. Oh my god. Every time I try and put a downdraft to try and be as like an emergency shield for any balloons that come by, they still just go right through. I swear this thing does like absolutely nothing, and it costs so goddamn much. Like, why is it like 3,000 and it blows like maybe like 3 to 4 balloons a second? I wouldn't say it's pineapple present levels of bad, because, hey, at least it does something, even though it's barely anything, but this is totally not worth the price. If it wasn't for the fact that its next upgrade wasn't just so utterly broken, I would never use this ever. So, easy D. Alright, this is a bit of an underrated upgrade in my opinion. Even though if in BTD5 it's a little bit broken, because they didn't really make this right. If you didn't know, the Super Monkey fan club could only convert 10 dart monkeys to super monkeys, irregardless of how many fan clubs you have. So say you have 4 fan clubs and 40 dart monkeys. Well, if you use all 4 abilities, it's just going to constantly convert the same 10. It won't do all of them. So this is kind of that upgrade you get twice for the sole reason of if you get 2 fan clubs, you could basically have infinite uptime. They basically will be able to regenerate in time. There's like a half second where it doesn't, but yeah. And to maximize its potential, you only need like an extra $2,000 to put down those dart monkeys and just put them all over the track, and you basically have 10 super monkeys for the price of 3 if you're only using 1 ability, or 6 if you're using 2. Granted, they can't be upgraded, but they are better than regular super monkeys. They have an increased attack speed, and I think they have better pierce too, though I'm not quite certain on that. So definitely pretty high, but there are better tier 4s, so I think B plus for now is good. Alright, the base ice monkey. The ice monkey is pretty good, but it really only starts to get going when you get to its 3rd tiers. Its lower upgrades don't really do much, and talking just strictly based off of the base tower alone, this thing is kind of cheeks. I mean, it's going to stun balloons for like a second or two. That's it, and then they can't be popped by basically anything sharp. more often than not, the base is like more of a detriment than it is a helpful. So I would definitely put it low. I would definitely put it higher than the downdraft because, hey, at least it's only like $300. So, alrighty, the bouncing boomerang, whatever the hell the official name is. I do not feel like looking it up. This upgrade is like okay. I mean, I would much prefer the bottom path over this, but this thing can help you really good. You could put this like towards the middle of the track and it'll still be able to hit stuff towards the beginning as long as there's not like only one balloon or whatever. So definitely pretty decent. But I don't know. I don't really use it a whole much anymore. It used to be one of my favorites when I was younger, but it's fallen off for me. I'd probably put it definitely in B minus, but would I put? Yeah, I'd put those a little bit better for now. Alright, the base farm. Don't get me wrong, farms are really good, but you kind of need to get a 2-0 before it starts being worth its payout, because the base farm, I mean, $80 a round is kind of trash, especially for costing. Excuse me. Especially for costing, what is it, 1,200? Oh, 1,000. Basically means in 12.5 rounds it pays itself off, so definitely takes you a while. And I would put it probably F because of how cheeks it really could be, but honestly, F really should be reserved for stuff that basically makes the tower worse or does almost nothing. And there is a funny glitch that really only works with the 0-0, that if you just constantly rebuy it, it will constantly just generate the 2 bananas over and over and over again. So if you have a max monkey lab and you have the 99% sellback, you can get so much extra money, especially on longer tracks. But that's pretty niche, so I wouldn't really weigh that in too much. I am factoring glitches with all these, but honestly, even with that glitch, it ain't helping its case that much better. Right above the base ice monkey. Now we got another base tower that kind of sucks. The 0-0 sub. I mean, it's a water tower, so you're already limited in where you can even use it. And its attack kind of sucks. You're honestly just better off getting the dart monkey instead if you were going strictly based off of the base tower. It's a little bit cheaper, yeah, one less pierce, but you can place it wherever the hell you want. So, I would say it's more worth it than the banana farm, but yeah, this is definitely a bad 0-0 tower, so we'll put it right above there for now. Alright, this one, I think it's the Seeking Shuriken? Yes. This is a great upgrade for the ninja. You totally basically need this. This is like a 100% required, unless you're just spamming down the bottom path for the ability. Then, I mean, who really cares? You're going to get it anyways, but you're not really using it for it. This is probably going to be one of the higher ranked tier ones in the whole list, because this thing is just great. Now, I don't know if I'd put it on par with its tier 4s, because it is still a tier 1 after all. I can't really put it on that level, but I mean, this helps so much with maximizing the ninja's pretty high pierce, so I'd probably put it yeah, above the fan club. You're going to be using that way more. And comparing the power of these two compared with their price, alright, I'd say. Ooh, another bad base tower, the glue gunner. This is definitely the worst tower overall in the game, though I do definitely like it. You can definitely use the glue gunner and actually have it be viable, but we're talking 0-0 glue gunner on the other hand. This thing's awful. I mean, you get a glob of glue, it'll slow the balloon down for, I think it's 10 seconds, but if it gets damaged at all, unless it's a ceramic, then, well, the glue's gone. So I would honestly say the ice tower is better because at least that thing is infinite pierce, so you can slow down a ton of balloons even if it's way less. So I'd probably even put it below the downdraft, honestly. Yeah, definitely, that would make sense. All right, I think that's stickier glue, right? Yes, that is. This is a pretty decent upgrade for the glue gunner. This basically makes its glue last the whole time. Unless balloons are getting blown backwards from like the tornado upgrade or this or distraction ninja. They're basically glued forever with this upgrade. It is a great stepping stone. Especially for only $100. Now, I wouldn't put it above the Seeking Shuriken, but I honestly wouldn't even put it in B because it's really good. Yeah, we're gonna put it at B+. It'll probably be like the very first one. Alrighty, let me double check, but I'm very certain that is the night vision goggles. It is. Now, this upgrade doesn't really do much for the sniper except give it camo detection. So, depending on the strategy you're doing, this is either okay or just completely pointless. I am a huge village user, so almost all my strategies involve a 2-2 village, especially in Balloons Monkey City, but this is a BTD5 ranking, so not really factoring that game in at all. But as someone who uses villages a lot, this upgrade gets skipped a ton. But if you aren't using villages, I mean, $250 I think it is for a quick camo detection that can really help on many rounds, especially if you don't have a village or any other camo stripping method and you're using the semi-auto. Really helps on that second wave in round 78. We're helping with that because the two, in my opinion, best towers for dealing with ceramics down here when you get these upgraded, they don't work on camos, so I would definitely put this in. No, I'd still say those two are better than it, but I wouldn't say it's C- worthy, so we'll put it right below those. Alrighty, the double shot ninja. This is almost better than the balloon jitsu. I mean, they're about the same cost per shuriken, I'm pretty sure. $850 for double shot, $2,750 for balloon jitsu in medium mode, that is. Doing some math real quick. Yeah, the balloon jitsu is actually more expensive than theoretically buying 2.5 fuck's it called, double shots. But if you add that half, it's base. No, not really. So I wouldn't call it better, but this is still really good for only $850. Basically, adding another shuriken, this will basically take care of basically up until round 46, almost completely on its own. As long as you get something that can pop leads, you're basically good. You can focus on farming at that point. It's basically like a little bit more expensive triple dart, so definitely put it up pretty high. Above or below the semi-auto, though? I think above, just because it's way cheaper. Alrighty. Here comes another hot take. I remember when I said the top half sniper sucks? The cripple Moab is just garbage. Oh my god. I mean, it sounds good on paper. I mean, you get to be able to stun a Moab. Great. Here's the thing. It costs like $1,500. Unless you're like fucking turbo farming, you're only gonna get like 3 or 4 of these a game. And when you get to the last like 10 rounds, the rounds where really the only rounds where you might need some extra support on Moabs, there's too many. This isn't gonna do anything for you. You're better off just investing it into better defense. It's way too overpriced. I would definitely put it in D, but I probably would put it probably at the start of D, because as poopy cheeks as it is, I mean, it is still a decent upgrade. It's just way too expensive. You're better off getting something else. there's going to be another tier 4 that I'm probably going to have similar words with. Alrighty, I think that's the turbocharge, not the bionic boomer, but I gotta confirm real quick. Yes, that is turbocharge. This, especially when combined with its specialty building, is just insane. It is basically all balloons are dealt with. As long as you give it some sort of camo detection, you don't have to worry about a thing. You just get some stuff that can deal with Moabs, and you're all set. Even without its specialty building, and it can pretty much clear them. Maybe some help on stuff like 76 and 78, but it's just great as something to put at like the end of the track for anything that's about to leak. And just wipe them down. And hell, when its ability is active, it can handle regular Moabs okay. So definitely a decent tier 4, but not one of my first choices. I'd rather just stick with its tier 3. That's still good enough value. So I'd probably smack it. Yeah, probably the top of B. It will probably work for now. Alright, the Juggernaut. I don't really use dart monkeys, for the exception of triple darts, honestly. But I know the Juggernaut is pretty decent. It is really good for ceramics. Problem is, you kind of need a straight line in order to take use of that. And it's good with just ceramics. Once you break the ceramics open, this thing struggles hard. It only does 1 damage to every other balloon, so I'm pretty sure this can 2-shot ceramics. I think I can test that real quick. Hold on. I'm pretty certain it 2-shots ceramics. Oh my god, I still haven't sold all the other towers I had to put down real quick. I want to make sure I'm right with this. Yes, it does 2-tap ceramics. But beyond that, you're basically going to need something else to deal with the rainbows below. So definitely helps with that regard, but you're going to... This basically is like... Treat it like a support tower, so... It is very inexpensive, though. I mean... It's like the same cost of getting two base balloon chippers, and it performs way better than they do. So probably put it like basically at the exact same level as the bouncing boomerang, probably right above, just because it is way better against ceramics, which is the whole point of why you're using that. Alrighty, the .50. This upgrade is way too overpriced. It's great. It is a good upgrade, but why on earth is it nearly $2,000? Like, the upgrade below that's only $340 pops lead and frozen, and upgrades the damage from 2 to 4. This upgrades it from 4 to 7, doesn't give any extra special effects, and it's like 5 times the price. Like, why? Why is it so much more expensive? It really should not be. It really should only be like twice, maybe 3 times the price. So that's definitely going to hurt it a lot. I typically skip this upgrade entirely until I'm upgrading my snipers to a tier 3. Then I'll try and get it, because it's just not worth it. You're better off just spamming 1-1s or 1-2s if you need the camo, instead of getting this. It's just not worth it. But I was ranking higher than the Deadly Precision, given how it is a tier 2, so it gets the benefit of still being able to use it. That's probably what I'll do right above the tier 3 on the top half. We might have our first A+. This is going to be close. I don't know, though. I would 100% put this at the bare minimum right next to the Balloon Jitsu. I mean, for only an extra $340, you get effectively 2 more dart monkeys combined into 1. It's just great. It's so cheap, and it basically handles all the early game. It basically is an improved double shot. I don't know if I put it so high in A tier, though, because I mean, what is the total price compared to the 2, though? Assuming you get the tier 2s on the other path at the same time. based off the sell value, it is like 40% the price of a double shot. So effectively means you can get 2.5 of these for the price of one double shot. So definitely a little bit better than I thought, but I probably wouldn't put it. I probably wouldn't put it in A plus. I didn't put the balloon jitsu, and they basically, if you get the equivalent triple darts compared to what the price of a balloon jitsu is, I mean, it's DPS could be higher, but the Pierce of the balloon jitsu is way better. Given how, I think you would need like what, 2,500. That's what, 4,000 is what a total for the balloon jitsu costs. These are like 1,000. That's 5,000 for that. So you're basically getting 5 triple darts, so max 15 damage compared to 5 here. But I think the total pierce for the balloon jitsu is higher because these are only no, you get yeah, this is definitely better than the balloon jitsu, even if it takes up a bit more space, since you would need a bunch more. And you don't, unlike the balloon jitsu, you can just opt to get less of these if you need. So I don't know if it's A plus worthy. It would have to be like the very beginning. I think we'll put that for now. I mean, I'm probably going to take a look at this list when it's completed and move some things around. So, alrighty. The tier 4s for the tack shooter. This will be a fun one. Ring of Fire. Trash. Do not get this. It's totally not worth it. This thing can't even deal with a ceramic. Basically no Moab damage. You're honestly better off just spamming down tack sprayers over this. It's kind of in a similar situation to the Cripple Moab where, yeah, the upgrade itself is alright, but there's way better alternatives. So, probably close to invalue. Given how it's so much cheaper, I'd have to put it above, though, and I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, you know what? C minus. I think it's better enough to be worth a C minus. Blade Milestorm. If you're abusing the instant ability thing that you get in BTD5 by just selling it and replacing, this thing is great. I mean, the ability is wonderful. Without the ability, this thing's just trash. But its ability recharges so fast, even if you're not abusing it. If you get 2 of these right next to each other, it's basically no different than buying and reselling. And these things will just completely destroy any balloon in its path. I mean, the blades have infinite pierce, so they'll even do decent Moab damage too. Though they probably won't take one out on it, so definitely one of the better abilities, but I think right below Turbocharge is where it's probably better than balloons. It's way better with balloons, but worse with Moabs. So probably right above I'd have to go with. Cluster bombs. This is debatably a nerf, in my opinion, to the bomb shooter. It effectively makes its blast radius way higher, but you're kind of losing black and zebra popping since you don't have the frag bombs anymore. So I don't really use bomb shooters that much, and when I do, I really just use the Mob Mauler. But I think when I used to play BTD5 as a kid, literally my strategy was getting balloon impact, and that's how I won games. As you might expect, that only worked on easy mode, and that's all I ever played when I was like 9 or 10, 11 when this game first came out. But yeah, cluster bombs, kind of a nerf in a way. You're losing black and zebra popping for a kind of close to a double blast radius. I probably wouldn't rank this too high, but it is fairly inexpensive, so you don't really need to worry about extra black and zebra popping. The double blast radius is nice, so I'd probably put it right below the Ring of Fire. This upgrade I don't use like at all. The flash bomb, it's just not worth it. I mean, the stunning is nice. I mean, the stun is pretty damn long, but to me, when I need stunning, I get an ice tower. Granted, this can see camo, so that gets a big advantage, but for 2,700, just trust me, I don't really need the stunning in most cases, and I don't need the extra lead popping, so I'm like, let's get 2 more double shots. That'll work. So probably close to some of the lower tier sniper upgrades. Probably close to increased accuracy, I'd say. Yeah, I'll put it right below it for now. Ooh, this upgrade, the full metal jacket. This is a fantastic upgrade for the sniper. It is pretty much required in my opinion. I mean, for the cost of almost another sniper, I think it's a little bit cheaper. You get its damage doubled, and it can pop LEDs. And frozen. And as somebody who uses the ice tower a lot, things that can't pop frozen that suddenly can get a big boost for me. Definitely one of the better stepping stones. I would probably say it's better than the enhanced freeze a little bit. Especially because this thing pairs very well with the semi-auto. I think the semi-auto is kind of mid when you just go 0-3, but just slapping on just the first upgrade could actually be all you really need for it if you want. So, definitely a must-have. I would probably put it better. Now a tier above. Better? Yeah, probably barely. I mean, I have so many tiers on purpose, so really want to try and keep things separated as best as I can. I think it's going to be a long time, though, before this Pineapple Express, the Pineapple Present upgrade, I don't know why I called it that, gets another one in its tier, because F is like basically reserved for upgrades that either do almost nothing or legit make the tower worse, which there are a few upgrades that effectively make the tower worse, and we'll get there when that comes. Alright, the Bionic Boomer, definitely better than the Turbocharge in my opinion. I mean, if you buy 3 Bionic Boomers, it's basically the same price as upgrading the Turbocharge. So, Turbocharge basically triples the attack speed, so it's a permanent Turbocharge, basically. Woo! So, definitely way higher. And basically means it's going to have the same properties as the Turbocharge, except it's not an ability, so it lasts forever. And you can optionally get less if you don't need all that extra firepower. So, when you get just one, these things they're okay. They're pretty good at anything below a ceramic, so I'd probably put it maybe right above the Seeking Shuriken for now. That'll work. The Spike Appult. This upgrade is okay, but I don't know. I just feel like if you're getting a tier 3, especially if you're stopping at the tier 3, Triple Dutch is way better. This thing is okay, but like it has the same issues that Juggernaut has, but the projectile is smaller, and you don't get that extra ceramic damage. Yeah, it's like a fourth of the price, but I don't think that really counteracts it at all. I'd probably make it right below, or right above the Flash Bomb. I always struggle. I think right below will work. I think Flash Bomb actually can have some late game usage, but the regular Spike Appult just doesn't have any. Alrighty, the Supply Drop Sniper. This is definitely going to be up at the higher tiers. This is one of the best ways that you can farm. If you're somebody that could micro quick, this is good. As a mobile user, kinda sucks because microing is a bit of a bitch to do, so. But the issue with this is it is so expensive. It takes a while to get there, and it takes a while to actually start earning a decent amount of money. So, I would probably have the semi-auto actually above it, because you're not getting this for damage, you're getting this for extra money, and for like $12,000, bit of a steep price, even if you could sell it right afterward if you want. There's big price ticket for entry, but the payout could be really big. That's close. I don't know. It's definitely below the semi-auto, but should I put it above the Boomer? And if I do, a whole tier above. Probably above the Boomer. I think right above. That high price point's what's holding it back. Honestly, if it was half the price but generated half the money, it might be better than the semi-auto, because you wouldn't need as much barrier for entry to get started with it. Alrighty, the faster firing upgrade. Not as good as its other counterpart. This is almost like buying another sniper and giving them lead popping, but the faster firing does not double its attack speed. I think it's 33%. But you're typically going bottom path sniper for damage anyways. Top path, I mean, this really isn't adding enough attack speed to mean too much, so not really that great of a stepping stone, but it is fairly inexpensive. You could totally skip this if you want and just go 1-0 snipers if you really want. But I wouldn't put it worse than either of these. Probably right above it. And probably work just fine. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, we're dropping that down to C-. Right in between these two, actually. Yeah, because just an upgrade that only improves camo detection really ain't that big of a deal. Alrighty, the enhanced eyesight for dart monkeys gives it, for $100 you get camo detection and a little bit extra range. It's a decent amount too. It's still worth getting this even if your dart monkeys are going to have camo from like a radar scanner. Definitely would still get this. But range on its own ain't always a big deal, especially for stuff that already has a large range. It's really only the stuff with very little where that gets a huge effect. So definitely below the enhanced for freeze. It is way cheaper. It is half the price, but Dart Monkey doesn't really need range as much as the Ice Monkey does. Probably right above increased accuracy for now. Alright, this one. I think that's Discipline. Ninja Discipline? Yeah, that is. You get a little bit extra range and faster attack speed. Definitely worthwhile, but usually forget about this upgrade because anybody getting this is trying to get sharp shurikens instead. If the orders of those two were swapped and you weren't worrying about tier 3s, this is pretty skippable and it's not really that necessary, but the fact that it's got the better upgrade, which I just realized is right there above it, is definitely 100% required, though not for this upgrade in general. It's royally for the upgrade after it, so I feel like it's got to be a little bit above the Dart Monkey's range upgrades because it does get attack speed too, but it is more expensive. Right above actually is probably a good one. Alrighty, now we got the Sharp Shurikens, which for the price of about a Ninja Monkey minus $100, you get double the Pierce, and if the regular Ninja has 2, this adds it to 4. So effectively, you're slapping another Ninja Monkey on this, $100 cheaper. In a way, if you think about it. Granted, 2 Ninja Monkeys could do 2 damage, but this can only deal 1. But to more balloons. Either way, totally worth getting this, especially because you are trying to get this mainly to get the top path ninja upgrade, so a good stepping stone, probably close in line with Full Metal Jacket. I think above the turbocharge actually, I would even put it above that too. Maybe, but the thing is, the glue gun basically requires stickier glue. You could theoretically live without this upgrade if it wasn't for the fact that its top path for damage is way better. I bumped my mic. What an oof. Oh my god. I just realized I've been recording for 43 minutes. Jeez, this is going to be a long ass video. But yeah, I'm going to put it right below the glue gunner right now. Look at all this. Look at all this that we still got. This is going to take so damn long. Alright, now we got the Balloon Impact. As I said, I used to love this upgrade for whatever reason it might be. I think for the sole reason of it can pop black balloons, not really caring about the stunning whatsoever. I don't know why. But playing it now, I don't really use the Balloon Impact. The only time I use it is when I'm sacrificing it for a temple. That's it. I don't really use this too much, but it is way better than the cluster bombs, because, yeah, for almost $4 grand, you get black and zebra popping, but the stun on this thing, I think, is even better. The stunning is way better than the flash bomb, because it does it more often, and I think it is still the same length. And with how fast the attack speed is on the missile launcher, assuming you're getting that along with this, which, I mean, why wouldn't you? Bomb towers are trash without the missile launcher upgrade. I mean, this thing is totally worth it. I probably would even put it above some of these Stepping Stone ones. Definitely better than the range upgrades for these, but putting it up here, though. Now that I think about it, yeah, it's definitely a better tier 4 than the Juggernaut. But I think then again, I don't know. Every time I keep looking at some of this stuff, I'm like, nah, this is definitely better than it. I probably wouldn't put it above here, though. I think the top of B would work. And now that I think about it, comparing with some of this stuff, I'm going to move Pursuit down here for now. No, that's not Pursuit. That's Bigger Jets. I don't know why I keep calling it Pursuit. Alrighty, the base sniper. This is a pretty decent base tower. I mean, I'm pretty sure it is the only base tower that does more than 1 damage. Infinite range, which is always a welcome. Very inexpensive. It's only like $350. Definitely one of the best base towers, especially for their cost. I would definitely put this pretty high. I think maybe right below the fan club would have to do. You could definitely get away with spamming a ton of these to help with some balloons. Alrighty, the base Dart Monkey. People like to say how great of a tower the Dart Monkey is, but that's mostly because of its upgrades. The base Dart Monkey alone ain't that great. But at the same time, a lot of the harder maps, especially on Mastery Mode, basically require this thing. So it has to get bonus points for that. I wouldn't have put it above the Sniper, but probably pretty close to it. They're pretty close when it comes to base towers. I mean, effectively meaning 2 Dart Monkeys would do the same thing as the Sniper, but the Dart Monkey doesn't have infinite range, so below Sharp Shurikens probably is good. Alright, it's more of the Dart Monkeys, but I don't remember which one is long range. I would think that it's the top one. Right here. Yeah, it is. Just given by the pose, so. For $90, you just get extra range. Definitely lower than this, because that gives camo detection. But I don't think there's much to say. As I said earlier, range ain't that much of a boost, especially for Dart Monkeys. Though the range it does get, I think, is more than the range it gets for that. So probably right below would be worth it, since getting camo for Dart Monkeys is huge. Alright, the Pierce upgrades for these aren't that really important. Adding 1 Pierce normally isn't really that good, but for a tower that only has 1, that is a pretty decent boost. I would probably honestly put it above the range upgrades. Probably, you know what, these two things do the same thing, and they basically cost close to the same. We're going to put them right next to each other, and I'll put them right below the enhanced freeze. I think that's fitting. Alrighty, I think this is super range. Wait, no, that's Tack Sprayer. Yeah, that's Tack Sprayer. This is basically the only tack upgrade worth a damn, minus maybe the Mouse Storm. All the other tack shooters are just ass. They're just not worth it. You spam a ton of these things, they can actually do just massive damage. Ain't the best when it comes to groups of balloons. I mean, they're okay against non-ceramics, I guess, but basically, if it's a ceramic, this thing sucks, but if it's anything else, it'll do a decent number. I would say Tack Sprayer is definitely really cost efficient and worth it. It's only like 500, I'm pretty sure, too, if I'm not mistaken. Probably, yeah, I'd probably put it right below the Bionic Boomer. Now, on the other side of the coin, the other tier 3, this thing is, oh my god, it's so bad. What, you get, I think it's +3 Pierce and a little bit extra radius, but it's even more expensive than the Tack Sprayer. The Tack Sprayer basically will accomplish the same thing the Blade Shooter upgrade does. And once you get to a certain point, this will do more, because if you spam enough, they will end up out-piercing the blade shooter. Definitely an ass upgrade. I would totally say that even the Ring of Fire is better than this. Even though the Ring of Fire only could do up to 1 damage, this could still do up to 8 theoretically, but you're pretty much never going to have blades hit everything unless it's like a ZOMG. So, probably, I definitely have the Cripple Moab above it, even with how overpriced that is. The blade shooter just sucks. Alright, the Glaive Thrower. This upgrade is pretty good for the boomerang. I think it gets plus 5 pierce, and the projectile is wider. So, definitely helps a lot. You pretty much need this when you're using the bottom path. If you don't get the pierce upgrades, then this thing really ain't gonna do much. So, definitely a stepping stone worth investing in. Probably put it... it is pretty much close in value to the Full Metal Jacket, so I'll probably put it right below for now. Alrighty, another good base tower, the 00 Ninja. This is definitely something that I would use a lot, even though I'm not much of a base tower spammer. This is definitely one of the better ones when it comes to base towers. I would still say the Dart Monkey has a slight edge, but I would probably put it right in between these two. A lot of base ninjas can actually, they can do a lot. They're pretty helpful. Alright, this, I think that is the bottom path. Yes, it is the first strike capability upgrade. This is kind of like the Cripple Moab and the oh, that was the wrong one. The supply drop, where it doesn't really boost the base tower at all, but it gets a really powerful ability. And this thing, especially when combined with its other tier 4, broken 100%. We'll get to why it's broken when we eventually get there. Oh my god, there's so much to go through. My god. But even if you don't use the glitch, even if you don't use reselling either, this can help a lot on BFB at ZOMG dense rounds, like 85 if you're playing Impossible. It'll wipe one ZOMG right off the screen for you, and depending on the cooldown, you might even get the second one too. This can clear out a decent amount of BFBs and Moabs. It can do regular balloons too, but you're usually not using it for that. Definitely a good ability, though it is on the more expensive side, so I would probably make it right below the semi. I definitely think it's better than the supply drop. This thing could be just abused way better. Even if you're factoring out glitches, I still think it's decent. Alright, the Frag Mobs upgrade. This kind of depends. I mean, this is a half decent upgrade, but if you're going like the bottom path with the Mob Mauler, this really isn't needed at all. You could totally skip this. But if you're going top path, it is worth it to just stay on this and then eventually skip right to tier 4, because having the extra projectiles to pop some of the black and zebra balloons can help the bomb tower get everything on the inside. So decent, but probably closer in line to like faster firing, where it could be skipped if you want to, depending on what you're doing. It's not really that necessary, so I'll put it right below. Distraction. This is kind of in that category. You could definitely skip distraction, especially if you're going top path, but I typically don't, especially because I use ice towers a lot. And fun fact, at least in BTD5, I don't think it's the case in Monkey City, ninjas can still cause distraction on balloons even if they can't pop them. So if it's a lead or a frozen balloon, it can still knock them back. So distraction plus ice tower spam is really good. Though you could still totally skip this. The distraction doesn't activate as much as you think it would, and it ain't even that huge of a benefit. So this is probably right, I'd say right below 0.50, I'd say. I think this is faster shooting, right? yes, this is faster shooting for tack shooters. Like I said, the tack shooters ain't that good, but I would say for tier 2s, the top path is better than the bottom, and if that's even faster shooting, it is. We're going to rank these at basically the same spot. I mean, for the price of basically another tack shooter, you're getting, I think it's 66% attack speed. Might be less than that. It might only be 50%. And then it's another 50% for this one, so definitely pretty decent. It helps the tack shooter out a lot, because attack speed can be one of its issues, especially when faster balloons are near it. I'd probably put it right below the Dart Monkey's range upgrades. Alright, there's two more tier 2s. The Sonic Boom and Ring of... Alright, let's do Ring of Fire. The Red Hot Spikes. The Sonic Boom upgrade basically doesn't mean pretty much anything. If you aren't using Ice Monkeys, this thing's pointless, so... But if you are, this can be helpful, but really only in the beginning, because once you get... You'll probably start getting more stuff that can pop them anyway, so totally a skippable upgrade can be ignored. If it wasn't for the fact that this upgrade is after it, if you were, for whatever reason, going top path Boomerang, you could totally just ignore it. So, I would definitely... Would this be... I would say, honestly... Then again, the pineapple version is almost never worth it. This can still be worth it in the first, like, dozen or so rounds if you're using an Ice Monkey near it. I'd probably put it, like, right at the top of F. And then the Red Hot Spikes add lead popping, which ain't that big of a benefit, but it is still a decent benefit. I'd probably put it right at the bottom of C-. Alrighty, I think that one's bigger bombs. No, it's not. Oh, did I mess up? Wait, oh no, that's the base bomb shooter. I'm dumb. Alright, the base bomb shooter. When we're talking base towers, bomb shooters kind of buns. I mean, the only reason you would even get, when we're talking strictly base towers, a bomb shooter is for leads, but honestly just get a wizard at that point. Yeah, it will have less pierce, but the wizard's cheaper. I definitely, when it comes to base towers, bomb tower is definitely pretty down there, but I wouldn't say it's this low. I definitely would rather have a sub. I definitely would not rather have a sub over a bomb tower, so probably right above the Cripple Moab would probably be worth it. Longer range. Here's the thing. Range ain't really something you want to give one of these bomb shooters. You basically need the missile upgrade or Mob Mauler for the range to actually be good for you, so it isn't even that much of a range boost either, so probably something you can totally skip. So probably right around where Distraction is. I would say right below 5.0. Alrighty, we got the Plasma Vision. That's the quickest F ever. Did you know that this upgrade is effectively a detriment? At least on the Steam version, which I probably should have mentioned. This is what this is for. It's for the Steam version. Because who plays the Flash? I would say who plays the Flash version outside of Nostalgia, but somebody who found a BTD5 YouTuber and then joined their Discord, I was plentifully shocked by the amount of people that still unironically play the Flash version of the BTD5 era games. Like, I'm surprised. Sometimes I forget Monkey City and Battles even had Flash versions, but either way. On the Steam version, the Laser Blast counts as 2 projectiles. Other versions it does not. And due to this, the Laser Blast is 2 projectiles with 2 pierce, but this is just 1 projectile with 3 pierce. So this will do less single target damage and less group damage for almost 5,000, with the only upside of being you can pop leads now, which probably ain't something you're gonna have to worry about. I would say this is indeed worse than the pineapple upgrade, because while yes, this could work as a stepping stone for the Sun God, or as a decent upgrade if you're using Robo Monkey, because that basically ignores the pierce thing since you're getting 2 Plasma Blasts anyways. At least this thing's only 200 bucks. This thing's like 5 grand. Literally buying another Super Monkey would basically be better than getting the Plasma Blast. It is ass. Now, on the other hand, the Laser Blast. This ain't that worth it either, too. Now, it's not complete booty cheeks, but you're for only a little bit cheaper than another Super Monkey, you get frozen popping power and 3 extra pierce. Another Super Monkey would effectively mean 2 less pierce total, but this is just... I typically tend to skip Laser Blast. I don't use Super Monkeys a whole lot, and when I do, I'm trying to immediately get to a Sun God, so... But you can totally get away with, if you're doing a Sun God, staying with Laser Blast, because it is okay. I would put it above some of these other tier 1s and 2s. Actually, looking at some of these, probably below. Yeah, I'd say right before the tack shooter upgrades. Alright, I think that's Dragon's Breath, right? Or is that the Phoenix? That is the Phoenix upgrade. This upgrade really isn't that worth it. I mean, the Phoenix is okay, but again, this is another bottom path tower that doesn't get its tower boosted with its upgrade. It just gets an ability, and the ability isn't the best. Wizards aren't even that great to begin with, but the Phoenix is okay, but there are just way better options. I would probably smack this maybe right above the Ring of Fire. Actually, the ability is pretty good. I put it right above the Deadly Precision. Alright, the Apache Dirt Ship. This is a bit of an underrated upgrade in my opinion. This thing can almost solo some games. It can't do much against ZOMGs, but basically anything else, this thing could probably handle most rounds on its own. You don't need a whole lot of stuff to help this. Maybe like an Absolute Zero to help with BFBs and Moabs, but everything else, this has got it. Definitely a very good tier 4. I'd probably put it in A. Then again, it is like almost 20,000. Yeah, I'd put it right below the Sabotage. The base tack shooter. I would honestly say the Ice Monkey's better than the base tack shooter. At least this can be upgraded to something worthwhile. This really can't. I'm putting it right in between. And now we got the range upgrades for the tack shooter. Honestly, these are almost even worse. You're barely getting extra range at all. It barely helps it. Like literally going on mobile right now to try and see how much range it gets. I don't have anything near me that I could make a decent reference for, but it's like so little. Like if I were to put it on the bottom of Park Path right now, it wouldn't even go outside of the ending straight line area. It's very, very little that this even gets. Actually, I don't even know. Okay, so this is tier 1 and this is tier 2. Alright, so this just isn't... you can... Honestly, if you're getting the 3-2s, you can even skip the range upgrades if you want. They're totally skippable. I would honestly put them worse than the Blade Shooter. Totally. Oh, oops. Right down there. Alrighty, the base Boomerang. This is a decent base tower. I mean, for 340, you're basically almost twice the price of a Dart Monkey. Little bit cheaper. You're getting 3 Pierce for almost the same attack speed. I would definitely say that this is a spammable base tower, but there are better base towers to use. So, where's the base Dart Monkey? Right up here. Probably right above it would be there. Wouldn't really call it better than the base Sniper, so. Ooh, did I mess? Wait a minute. Hold on. I think this is Sonic Boom and this is multi-target. Ooh, I did an oopsie. See what I mean? This is actually Sonic Boom. That is multi-target. So, just pretend those were where they. Just pretend those were where they were. But multi-target is, I would say, better than even the glaive, because it has 4 pierce, or $100 less. I think the glaive shooter one only adds 3. Yeah, you get a little bit of a wider projectile, but I would definitely have this just a little bit above the glaives. Alright. Monkey Fort. I am factoring in glitches with this, but if I were not factoring glitches, this probably wouldn't be that high. This adds pierce to every monkey by 1, which on paper is like nothing. That sounds bad. 1 pierce is really not going to mean much, but for some towers, this synergizes well. Some, it does absolutely nothing, like anything with an explosion or an ice tower, that's not going to do anything to it. But something like the glue gunner, I'll come back to that. The glue gunner, the glue splatter upgrade will splatter twice instead of just adding 1 pierce to the splatter. Now, when I said that all explosions do basically nothing, the only exception is the Hydro Rocket pods, because basically the missile will explode 1 more time, so you're getting an extra explosion. So I feel like this, when increasing pierce, should make explosions be a little bit bigger, and like the ice aura a little bit bigger, since those are infinite. But yeah, this is definitely something that could be totally abused. And when I used to always get the top path monkey beacon first, but sometimes when I get a village, I get this one first now, after learning about that pierce thing. So I would put it right above the enhanced freeze for now. Alrighty. Faster firing for the Dartling Gunner. Really, this upgrade is also something you could totally skip. I mean, it really isn't adding that much attack speed. I think it's only like 33%. At that rate, buy another Dartling Gunner. It's cheaper. At the top path, Dartling Gunner ain't even that great. When you're getting one, you're really just trying to spam 1/1s or trying to get the Hydro Rocket pods and the bads. But the little bit extra attack speed ain't going to mean a whole lot. You could skip it if you really want to. Another Dartling Gunner is going to accomplish the same task, and it's going to do it better. So, jeez. Yeah, probably C-. The Balloon Trap. This is a bit of an underrated upgrade. This is one of the cheapest farming methods available. This upgrade's only like 3,800, and each of its traps do about $600 if you fill them up completely. It is totally worth trying to spam a bunch of these to get extra money, because it's not only going to give you extra money, but it's going to do damage too. So, a very worthwhile tier 4. I'd probably put it right below first rank capability. Alright, this is Energy Beacon, right? Or is this Monkey Town? I think it's Monkey Town. Yeah, this is Monkey Town. Monkey Town is okay, but the thing is, this costs like almost 11,000. Even if you have another village nearby to discount that upgrade, it's just, what, that much? Just to make 50% extra money per pop? Yeah, this is pretty useful in free play because it adds 50%, not gives 50%. By that meaning, if your income is set to 2% normal, it'll set it to 52 instead of 3. So very useful when you get to the later game, but I usually don't even bother with Monkey Town. Not always worth it. I'm usually generating money other ways, so not really worth investing in, but it is pretty decent, so I would say, like, I don't know, right above Juggernaut, just because of that thing that I mentioned, that it adds 50%. That glitch definitely can help you get way more money towards the last few rounds, but usually by that point, I mean, you already have all the money you need, so it's whatever. I think the upgrade next right now is Plantation. Yes, this is the best upgrade, in my opinion, for the banana farm. This thing gives 4 extra bananas, 5 if you want to count the one from beforehand, for basically the price of another banana farm. So you're getting the cost, you're basically 2.5 banana farms for the price of one. Definitely worth it, and it pays itself off very quick. This is one of the top farming methods that you can do, especially early on. Totally would use this a lot. I would use it even more than, honestly, either of these. I'd put it in A. There's another A right there. Alrighty. Is that valuable bananas? Or is that long life? Wait a minute. Long life bananas has almost the exact same image. In fact, I think this is long life bananas. The only difference is the banana on the right gets moved forward. Hold on. Yeah, this is actually long life bananas, not the base. So we're going to go swap that out real quick. I think that was in the same spot. Oh, now that I think about it. Oh, wait, no. I thought this was plantation for a second. That's more bananas. We're good. This is valuable bananas, though, right? Okay, let me tap on the thingy. Yes. This is another F tier upgrade. Complete utter trash. You could totally 100%. Honestly, nah, then again. The upgrade itself, I would put this at the top of that. The upgrade itself isn't that bad, but the fact that it costs nearly $4,000 is just utterly stupid. If you're going banana farms, only get this upgrade if you're going all the way to the top paths. If you're stopping at just banana plantation or whatever the third tier is, do not even get this. It's not even worth it. It'll take like almost 30 rounds to pay itself back, since it's only adding an extra $20 per banana and costs like almost $4,000. Poopy Cheeks upgrade, we are ignoring it. Now, the other pretty good banana farm upgrade, the Banana Factory. This will basically give you $3,600 when combined with this, but without, it gives you $2,400 per round. That is a big chunk, and it will pay itself off very quick because it only costs $15,000. I wouldn't put it as high as those because it's less spammable, but it is definitely a pretty decent farm. 100%. I put it right between those two. No. Here. Just given how when you get this much money, that's when you could start doing helicopter and sniper farming if you so choose. This is more like a lazier way. The support Chinook. Alrighty, definitely better than the bottom path sniper because it can not only generate lives, but it generates more money for not much of an increased price tag. I think it's only $4,000 more. I would say above the farm, but below the triple sniper, just because this doesn't buff the tower itself at all. But if you're getting this, you're not really caring about what the tower does, except for the abilities. So I would say right below the semi-auto is a decent spot for that. Even if you aren't buying and reselling this thing, it is definitely worth it. It pays itself back in basically a couple of rounds, especially if you extend the length of those rounds in some way. Alright, I think that's dual layer blades for the balloon chipper. Yes. Dual layer blades is actually pretty good. This is a decent way to help deal with ceramics and regular balloons. It'll usually shred through everything until it gets down to pinks and yellows. Then it's turbo cheeks against them, so good for splitting up child balloons. But more often than not, spamming the base will accomplish a simpler task. I would say probably right below the glaive thrower for now. Advanced Intel might be one of the best stepping stone or tier 1/2 upgrades in the game. You are effectively giving your sub global range so long as you have other towers near the track, which If you don't already, just put a bunch of 0-0 dart monkeys. There you go. Global range achieved. This is definitely by far probably the best tier 1 or 2 in the game. I don't know if I go so high as to say A. You know, the banana plantation might be better. I think it's slightly better because this makes like the 3rd tier on the bottom path so good. Tempest Tornado. Poopy Cheeks, that's what this is. I would honestly rather have Downdraft over this thing. This is 4 times the cost of like a Downdraft, and you would think it would be so effective at blowing balloons back. Yet every time I use this, I'm still leaking regardless. The attack speed of this thing is super low, and this thing has like no pierce to it, especially for the cost that it is. Then again, it is way higher than the down. Yeah, I'll put it right above the Downdraft instead. Top path wizards are buns, and I would totally skip them whenever you can. Do not get top path. Alright, that's cannon ship, right? I'm pretty sure that's cannon ship. Yes. I used to use this upgrade a lot, but honestly, water monkeys just aren't really that useful. There aren't a whole lot of courses with water. And the ones that there are, I would just rather use... I'd rather use the top path, or if I'm getting this, I'm trying to get all the way to the Monkey Pirates upgrade instead. Well, for $1,000 to add a decent camel lead defense, it's alright. But I'd probably put it, yeah, right above Spike Bolt. That's a good... yeah, the Flash should be above. That makes sense. Base Super Monkey might be one of the worst base towers. It costs so much to the point where basically spamming any other tower will basically equal the damage that it does. Though I would say that these 4 are worse. 5, I would even make... I would say the sub is even better than the base Super Monkey. We'll definitely put it right there. Alright, super range. This actually is a very significant range upgrade that the Super Monkey definitely does need. It does have a lot of range, but this, like, is almost 50%. I would definitely put this above the Dart Monkey range upgrades, but probably right above Monkey Town, especially because this thing's only, like, $800. Epic range I wouldn't put on the same tier, because this doesn't add as much as super range does, and it's more expensive. I'd probably put it right above the Dart Monkey's range upgrades. Lightning. This upgrade's hit or miss. In early game, this upgrade's great, but in late game, this actually could potentially be a detriment. So it's kind of close to like what frag bombs could be. But I think this has higher potential to being used, even if it's more on the expensive side for a tier 2 at 1200. I'd say it's 0.50 actually might be a little bit better. Yeah, there. That's probably good. Dragon's Breath. This is like the only tier 3 or 4 for the wizard that is worth it. And even then, I mean, there are better options. I probably wouldn't worry too much about Dragon's Breath. This is definitely good in like battles, but BTD5 itself, it's kind of for the price that it is. I'd probably put it like at the top of C for now. We're probably going to be coming back later to re-look through and seeing if I should move anything anyways. Monkey Beacon. Now, most of the time when you're getting this, you're not getting it for the extra range. You're getting it so you can more easily tell if what you're about to place is in range of the village or not. Since, unlike at BTD6, there is no Q whatsoever. You have no idea if you don't get this upgrade. But the extra range ain't that huge of a benefit. I would definitely say Monkey Fort is better. If we weren't factoring glitches in, this would be better, but probably right below it for now. And I have to pee really bad. We're at about a halfway point, so I'm going to pause, and I'll be right back to do the rest. Alright, I have returned. Looks like we are on what I presume to be even faster reduction. I think that's what that is. Yes. Alright, for about 1100, I think it around is, you get what feels like almost double the production speed. This really does make the spike factory worth a damn, because it produces way too few spikes when it's at its lower tiers. And hold on, wait, that's Mob Shredder. I see the top. I was confused for a second. Like, these look almost the same. See what I mean? I don't even use Mob Shredder that much, but I do know how good it is. So we're gonna go give you a bit of a boost. Definitely say it's better than bigger jets, but probably above. I'd say it's a little bit better than dual air blades. Yeah, because the boomerang stuff is a little bit better and more cost efficient to me. Alrighty, that is the Sentry upgrade. Now, this is a weird one to rank. We are factoring in specialty buildings, but if we weren't, this could probably be a solid 2 full letter grades below what it is. But factoring in special buildings, which we are doing right now, broken. Those turrets are, they will, no joke, like 5 of these, 5, 6, 7 of these will be easy mode for you. Like, you can literally just place them all down, walk away, and come back. It is the best way to do the stupid-ass 10 medals. I would say it's even better than the damn triple shot. Those sentries are no joke. Alright. Oh, stupid scroll wheel. On the other hand, faster engineering is kind of the opposite. It's a decent upgrade to get. You get 1 extra sentry, and the other one doesn't have that low uptime. But if you do have the specialty building enabled, this does nothing. I don't know why, it just doesn't. You think at the very least it would build the 3rd sentry faster, but no, it doesn't do anything. So that would mean F tier, but if you don't have the specialty building, it does do something. But not really that much. Effectively a 25% damage increase. Not really worth getting. If you're going bottom path engineer, definitely skippable even without the specialty building. Definitely with it. But I'd still put it above the blade shooter, even with the specialty building making it useless. Because without it, it's okay. Alright. I think that is ballistic missile. Yes. This is a pretty decent upgrade. $1,300 and you get a missile that I think does the same damage that a Spikeable, not a Spikeable, Juggernaut does. And this has global range. Definitely really good spam upgrade to get a bunch of them with these. One of the better tier 3s in my opinion, especially if you got a good water map. I would throw it up pretty high, but probably right below, right above the Bionic Boomer is probably a good spot. Alrighty, I think this is Radar Scanner. This is kind of depends on what you're doing. If you have a lot of towers that can already handle camo well, then well, this ain't gonna do anything. But if you're using towers that are good against balloons, cough, cough, ice and glue, and they don't have camo, this is like essential. So it is kind of on the same level as like bigger jets, where depending on what you're doing, this is either really good or pointless. So it probably is fitting to put it like right above it. Right below, just because it's way more expensive. Alrighty, the tier 1 balloon chipper upgrades. I actually need to see, because I'm not fully sure how much the Sucky Earth upgrade even really does. I always just get it because, well, it's a tier 1 or 2. You pretty much always get it. Yeah. It does have the, it looks like it has the same suction speed, but it can hold another ceramic, so basically for half the cost of another balloon chipper, you get 1 extra ceramic to hold, which doesn't sound as great when you say it out loud now, because 1 balloon chipper does 3 ceramics, this only does 1, and that's only half the price, so not really needing this. If this was on the bottom path, if the range was swapped with this, you could honestly skip this if you were going for the Moab one. Not really that useful. I'd say it's probably less useful than even... Nah, probably right above. Yeah, all that does is camo. Yeah, that's probably good. And now the range upgrade, pretty decent. It gives a lot more range than you'd expect, which really helps the balloon chipper, especially if you're going all the way to the super wide funnel with getting in Moabs properly. I would definitely put this right above Enhanced Freeze. Ooh, it's another F tier one. The don't even know this name. I think it's Viable Frost. This upgrade's pointless. It costs almost the same as an Arctic Wind and does almost absolutely nothing. It'll freeze balloons that come in contact with it, but that is rarely going to freeze more than anything that's outside of its range because it has such a high attack speed. And the balloons have to be, like, really close. They basically have to be, like, directly on top of it for it to be considered contacting. So this is just totally not worth the money whatsoever, and I would never get this. The only time I ever buy this upgrade is if I'm sacrificing Ice Monkeys to Super Monkeys. I would say even the Plasma upgrade is better than that. Totally poopy poop. And now it's other tier 4. Boop. S tier, 100%. Yes, this does not boost the tower in any way, but this is probably the best ability in the game, even if you're factoring in ability microing. It instantly freezes every single balloon on screen and then cuts Moab speed in half permanently. It's not like the Ninja one where it only lasts 15 seconds and only works on new ones. This one's permanent. And it's only the cost of one other ice shard, so sacrifice additional ice shard, which is only good on balloons, for basically making your ice tower good with both balloons and Moabs. Definitely, totally worth it. This is one of the best tier 4. It probably might even be the best tier 4 in the game in the end. Alright, Crow's Nest. This is also one of those upgrades that's kind of eh. It's just one of those ones that just gives camo detection. But if you're using the specialty building, this doesn't give it camo detection anymore. What it does is it gives other towers camo detection. So basically an inexpensive radar scanner. But, I mean, that means having to use a specialty building slot for it. So I don't see myself using this that much because its specialty building ain't that great. It's good if you're trying to use destroyers, but other than that, if you're trying to use a bunch of destroyers, guess what? They already have camo detection if you just get Crow's Nest on the bottom, so this ain't gonna save you much money in that scenario. Not really that necessary. I would honestly say the sniper is probably a little bit better. The specialty building buff is better. We'll put it right above. Alright, I think that's Razor Rotors, right? Me not knowing the icons. How dare you? What the fuck? Oh, it's Pursuit. This is a Poopy Cheeks upgrade, but I would still say that this is like the very tippy bottom of D. While this does kind of make your tower worse, if you're someone who hates microwave stuff, you will probably very well give up the little bit of cheeks that's going to occur. The worse heli usage by using this, just so you don't have to control it. Even if this, yes, does make the tower worse, it removes your ability to do it, to have to control it, which is very nice. I do appreciate that, and a lot of times I just put my Apaches on it anyways. I'd actually still would put it above the downdraft because it's so inexpensive. Hell, I'd even put it above that. You know what? I'd put this higher than I think. Yeah, that's probably good. Nope, that's probably good. It's still a D tier upgrade because it does make it worse, but not having the control thing really helps. If the mortar's increased accuracy, honestly, gave you that option, that'd be an immediate A+ for it. That'd be so helpful. Grape Shot. This is a pretty good tier 1. Probably one of the better tier 1s. It shoots, I think, 4 grapes that have 3 pierce. I'm probably getting a shit ton of stats wrong, but I know about what it does. This is basically the cost of another Monkey Buccaneer, but you're getting like 4 times the projectiles. Totally good. I think it's even better than the boomerang ones. Even better than that. I'd say it's better than sharp shurikens and stickier glue. Probably right below the Seeking Shuriken would work. Alrighty, this is red hot spikes, right? Yes. This is kind of an upgrade. I mean, I'm pretty sure there are no regrow leads except in one special mission. And what are the chances that you are not going to have some sort of lead defense? So basically the lead popping power means barely anything, so basically leaving up to the frozen popping power. If you're someone that actively uses ice monkeys, just don't have your spike factories theorem. Have them somewhere else. Because really it's just not worth it, it doesn't do much. Definitely not a good tier 2, that's for sure. I'd still rather have... I would say the downdraft is a little bit better. As bad as downdraft, and that is... This, in most cases, does basically nothing. Alrighty, I think that's sprockets, right? Yes, that is sprockets. This, actually, I think it doubles attack speed. Let me see. Half a second. Nah. Has like a 50% attack speed boost, but it affects the sentries as well, not just the engineer. So you get a 1-3, and this thing is pretty damn good, especially when the specialty building is used. And for only like $600, yeah, totally good tier 3 to have. I would think it should go right above the ballistic missile. That's a good spot. Don't remember what this is. Point and laugh at me all you want for forgetting these upgrades. And I actually think that's the long range upgrade. Yeah, that's long range. Yeah, see, I keep forgetting some of these. This is faster shred. And faster shred... faster shred's only really that useful in ceramics. Anything else, and it's not really going to mean too much. It already shreds fast enough. Ceramics are really the only thing. Don't worry about. And also, this, that's the heavy duty suction upgrade. I legit forgot where I had that. I think it was right here. So these are the tier 2s. So when we're doing this part, I would say you can totally skip this if you're going for Moabs. Not really that needed. It is pretty inexpensive though. I usually get it anyways, but if you're going like with ceramics, this helps a decent chunk. So I'd probably say for a tier 2, right below the Darling Gunner. And this is heavy duty suction. Just sucks in leads. Given how you're really using these for ceramics and above, that doesn't really do anything. Then again, it is cheaper, and unlike Spike Factory, you're usually using this around lead balloons anyways. Does it let it pop frozen balloons, though? Or can the base chipper already do that? I do not know the answer to that. I'm gonna go in sandbox mode real quick. Fuck, it's so hard to do that. Yeah, base chipper can already pop frozen balloons, so heavy duty suction doesn't have that advantage going for it. Unlike this, but you are more commonly using this near lead, so probably right above. Alright. I think that's Arctic Wind, right? Yes, this is Arctic Wind. This is a great support upgrade. Definitely top tier. If you use the other tier 3 with this, all balloons are dealt with. Done. Don't ever have to worry about anything. You just gotta figure out what to do with the Moabs, and you're good. Definitely a top tier, low of A, I would say. And the ice shards is going to be an instant A+. I think right above the absolute zero in my opinion. This is the best upgrade for balloons, period. If there's enough in its range, it'll one-shot them, every single one. No, it does suck when there's only singular balloons. It won't do basically anything, but most of the time when you need extra regular balloon support, there's a bunch nearby, because that's what's getting by. So, one shot's basically everything. You combine an Arctic Wind with it. Boom. You're all set. Don't ever have to worry about anything. Best tier 3 probably by far. Spectre. Spectre is really good, but it's also like $18,000. It's kind of in a similar situation to something like the Apache. Really good, but really expensive, and I probably put it similar. But the Apache, I think, you can control it way better. This way better range compared to the Apache, but aces just aren't that great, and I think Razor Rotors ain't that great, but the tier 2s for them, well, we're not really worrying about those right now. Building up into it, though, yeah. I would even say that these are better. All these are better than the ace. I think right above Balloon Impact is actually a good spot for the Spectre. Alright, that's quad darts, right? Yeah, that's quad darts. For about 40% the price of another heli pilot, you get double the damage. So definitely an upgrade, totally worth getting in basically every scenario. The only time you wouldn't is if you're strictly using the ability on the bottom pack, because then you don't care for this, but anything else, this helps a ton. Probably right below the base dart monkey. Airburst darts. This effectively triples, but actually can up to quadruple if it's a big enough target, the damage for some, and is the first upgrade that I think really makes subs worth it. And advanced intel's one thing, but who cares if you have infinite range if your damage is cheeks? I wouldn't put it above advanced intel, but definitely going to be a higher tier 2. I would say, yeah, right. Yeah, right in the bottom of A-. Balloon Liquefier. This is another cheeks upgrade. Don't know if it's F tier quality, but it is very bad. For $15,000, you get an upgrade that effectively makes all balloons die in 2 seconds, which sounds good, but the balloon dissolver is only 5 times slower, and it's basically going to accomplish the same task. I mean, anything below a ceramic is basically going to die anyways, unless you have this thing, like, at the very end of the track. You're better off getting more balloon dissolvers, or getting an Arctic Wind where your glue gunner is, so I can slow it down and have the dissolver work better. Definitely not something I would ever really worry about getting. I would honestly say the base glue's better than it. Monkey Pirates. This is a decent upgrade, especially when microed, but even without, I mean, being able to take in a BFB right off the bat is pretty good. I think it also ignores the income generation nerf thingies, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't remember fully. Let's see. Let me think. That's a good ability, but it's also, again, another tower that doesn't really get a benefit outside of the ability, so your ability would have to be hugely important for it, cough cough, for that to be so high. I would say Airburst Darts, but that's definitely better. I'd say it's better than the Tax Sprayer, so yeah. About middle of B+. Alrighty, now we're on Long Life Bananas. This upgrade is... It honestly depends. If you don't use farmers, this is okay, but if you do use farmers, it does absolutely nothing. Though I've never really had a problem with not using this upgrade and collecting my bananas in time as someone who does not use farmers like at all. So then again, it is only like 5k. I would still put it in F tier, but probably like very top. In fact, you know what? I'd say even Sonic Boom is better than Valuable Bananas. At least this can be useful. The only time this is useful is when you're going all the way. Ground Zero, that's definitely, like I said, another tower that only just gets an ability, but its ability is fantastic. Not only because the Ground Zero ignores income generation nerfs, but it one-shots all balloons and does a ton of damage to mob classes, so I would say this is probably right below the Arctic Wind. If you're microwaving this can basically do everything, but even without microwaving, totally worth getting. Alright, the Sun God. As great as this is, it is very expensive and isn't as good as a BFB or ZOMG dealer as you would expect for that much of a price. I usually don't even bother getting with Sun Gods. They're basically the only rounds I typically have a ton of trouble with are 77 through 85, and this isn't helping you that much for its price. I would probably put it right above the Apache. I think it is better than that, at least. Even though they do effectively cost around the same. Sun Temple. Now, some of you might think we put this really high, but remember, we're not factoring in free play, and the based temple is ass. You need to get this maxed out. Now, if you do max out the temple, you have won. It's just straight up won. Unless you put this in a complete terrible spot, you have won. But here's the other thing. By the time you're getting one of these, there's maybe 10 rounds at most left. Do you really need this? You could spend that nearly $400,000. Actually, I think it's more like $300,000. Either way, that much amount of money on just literally anything else, and it'll do the same task. The temple is heavily overrated. Yes, you need it for ultra late game, but like I said, we don't care about free play in this list, so definitely not something worth the insane levels of cost. Even if it's a you win the game button, it takes so long to get that it ends up not being worth using. C plus is totally in its range. I would say, even for its cost, it's probably right here. Technological Terror. I never use this. You think this ability is really good. It's kind of like the Ground Zero, except the Ground Zero affects everywhere. This just affects a small range, and it's not even the whole tower's range. It's just a small bit around it. It doesn't get that much of a damage and pierce increase compared to the Robo Monkey. You're better off just buying 3 more Robo Monkeys instead of this. Actually, 2 more would be about the same price, but still. Its ability's okay, but it ain't worth it. It just is not worth using this. I would probably put it right above the 2 camo upgrade. Ring of Fire is a little bit better, yeah. Probably down at C-. Alright, Banana Plantation. This is an okay upgrade, but if you're going this far, I mean, you might as well just go all the way, because this adds 6 more bananas, but it costs like 2,700. You're better off usually just getting more of the 2 zeros and then selling those to get the top farm. So, not really that useful. I wouldn't need to worry about it too much. Yeah, it's probably good. Middle of B. Energy Beacon. This thing is nice, but given the fact that you can instantly get an ability back in this game by buying and reselling, it's not that useful. But this beacon is really good against mob class balloons. It shreds them. Like, the damage this thing does is unreal. Not the best against ZOMGs, but everything else, it'll handle them very well. The 50% reduction for abilities, the game says 20, but it lies, is not really that useful, but the damage is great. I would probably put this in B+. Right. Yeah, bottom of B+. Not right above quad darts. Here's another A+ tier. Super wide funnel. You get a spam it. You want to know the strategy that baits almost every map? These four guys right here. This for the first couple of rounds. Get a few of these for the exits. This to help slow stuff down. And then spam the shit out of chippers. You're done. You've won. This upgrade is beyond broken. It is basically the sole reason why Ninja Kiwi is so afraid of trying to add this in the BTD6. And then you get brain dead people being like, well, imagine if that sucks up a bad. Well, then don't. Don't let it do that. That's simple. Anything can be balanced. Some just takes more work than others. There's nothing that is truly unbalanceable. Even Soulmine could have been balanced. Though I do gotta say, what they put in place was way better. But that's a different game. Alright, another upgrade that just applies camo detection. There's not much I can say for this that hasn't already been said for the other two. But given how it's the most expensive, we'll put it below the other three. The Tornado. I think this is honestly almost even more insulting than the Tempest. I mean, you feel like, oh, for $2,000, this will help save me from the exit. Honestly, just get a Spike Factory instead. This thing barely blows anything away. But I would rather have this than the Downdraft. I would still rather have this than the Tempest, honestly. It is cheeks, but this is really expensive for barely a better benefit than this gets. And this is just a joke of an upgrade. Alright, the Corrosive Glue. This is one of the upgrades that makes the Glue Gunner worth a goddamn. I mean, all the tier 2s are really good and are needed. 100% required. But I think out of all of them, this is the one that could be omitted the most. You don't always need Glue Gunner for damage, but it does help to have that little extra bit, especially for how cheap this is. The only time it wouldn't be is if you're trying to use Glue Gunners to help deal with regrows better, then this is bad, but other than that, yeah, don't really matter. I'd probably put it probably right below the Dart Monkey. Alright. Oh my god, look at how much. Holy shit. This is gonna be a 3-hour video. I didn't realize this would take this long. But we have the Mob Shredder spikes. Decent upgrade for Mob popping power. This is definitely something that you can easily put towards the beginning of the track, towards the last few rounds, and just start off right off the bat with all the Mob class balloons being damaged. It's definitely very good. I like this. Even if I don't use it a whole lot, it's still worth getting. I would definitely have it above the Spectre. That's probably B+. Is it good enough for A? Nah. That's actually a good spot right there. I don't know what upgrade that is. No idea. I never use the Ace, especially not the tier 2s, because they suck. It's Rapid Fire, which effectively, for the cost of a little bit less than another Monkey Ace, doubles the attack speed, so definitely a decent upgrade to get, but Aces below tier 3 just suck. They're too inaccurate. I don't think this buffs the forward-facing gunner that the specialty building provides, though. I'm not fully sure. I don't use Aces because, like I said, Aces at tier 2 and below are trash. Never use. No point. But I was. This is still probably like the only tier 2 upgrade that's even that useful. But I wouldn't say it's as useful as some of these other tier 2s. Probably right above increased accuracy. Oh, I don't think about it. I think increased accuracy should be down a bit. Like, it ain't that great, and it's that high. It probably should be right here, honestly. And then we can have the flash bomb right above. Alright, the base wizard. This is probably, if we're going strictly just base towers, the best thing to deal with leads. But when it comes to actually dealing with leads, there's so many other better ways. And as a base tower, this thing doesn't do the damage that you'd expect. This is basically another boomerang with lead popping power for $200 more. I would really not use these as their base. Not really that worth it. Though in an expensive lead defense is enough to earn top of C. Intense magic. I think this triples the pierce of its normal attack for the cost of half another wizard. That's definitely some pretty damn good value, I have to say. It's probably close in line to the rapid fire. Probably right below laser blast is a good move for it. Alright, more bananas. Not really that useful, but a 50% increase in production for like a quarter of the price of another banana farm is definitely an improvement, but not much of an improvement. I would still keep this in like C-, probably right above base wizard. Default engineer. This tower sucks without its sentries. As a base tower, this thing is poopy poop. It has decent pierce for a base tower, I'll give it that, but the projectile is really small. And I feel like there's just better things you can do. I would have it right. I would still have it above the wizard, though. Another kind of bad base tower, but okay. The village, 10% cost reduction for everything in it. Nice, but you kind of need the monkey beacon or the monkey fort for it to start actually having good effects. Beacon so you can tell what's actually inside it, and the monkey fort to help with pierce for some stuff in particular. I would say it should be the first one that goes directly in C, and is probably above. Yeah, top of C. Plutonium darts, whatever that's called. This upgrade lets it pop lead, and if you're not getting laser blast, frozen. So you really only need these on one of your dartling gunners if you're doing spam to help with leads. The rest don't need it, and this is fairly expensive for what it is. I would say this is even worse than the upgrades that just give camo. And where are they? Again, right here. So I'd probably put it. I would say it's worse than Red Hot Rings, just because Red Hot Rings ain't that expensive. Alright, bigger stacks. You're basically taking another spike factory and infusing it into this one, so $50 less and saves the space. Too bad we haven't put the base spike factory yet, because I feel like it should go right where it goes. Kind of an upgrade I usually forget about, but doubling the damage is still pretty decent. I would say we're probably going to put the base. You know what? We're going to grab the base right now and put it right above. Cleansing foam. Again, like the engineer. The engineer upgrades really highly value if you're using their specialty building or not. Because the foam, without the specialty building, sucks. Removes camo, pops lead, and removes regrow. But the pierce on that thing is so poopy buns that it's not going to really help you like at all. But if you have its specialty building, it actually damages all balloons, and it does a lot of damage. Like, that thing helps a ton. But then again, it doesn't really need it. If you give the engineer itself camo detection, then its sentries can handle them, but otherwise you use this to help deal with camos. Not really that worth it, but the buff it gets from its specialty building is enough to probably keep it out of C. Yeah, right in between these two. 9-inch nails. This, I think, doubles the pierce of the Sentries and the Engineer, and lets it pop frozen balloons, so you could use these near ice towers, yay. Though I'm pretty sure the Sentries already can pop lead and frozen right off the bat if you're using specialty building. I think putting this right above the base NG is good, because it's like getting another one combining with it, so woo. Base Balloon Chipper is definitely one of the better base towers. This is a good way to stall ceramics, but outside of that, Base Balloon Chipper kind of sucks. But trust me, spamming these for help with ceramics is pretty good. Are there any base towers in C+? Or, no, what about C? I still say it's a tad better than that. Probably bottom of C+ would be worthwhile. Twin guns. Alright, doubling attack speed for the sub, which it definitely needs that, that's for sure. Definitely a worthwhile upgrade to get, though it is more expensive than just buying another sub. So, it is definitely a better attack speed buff than faster firing, though. Yeah, that's a good spot. The aircraft carrier. These planes that it gets are really good, but the thing is, they aren't really like a constant stream. They like come in and out effectively because they're flying near stuff. They try to stay in straight lines, but they usually don't do it. Not to mention you're removing the destroyer's dart gun off of it. So if it didn't do that, this would definitely be pretty high up there, but I don't really think it's worth using these over just doing destroyer spam. And we're gonna get you probably below impact. Base ninja butter. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Operation Dart Storm. This actually finally makes the ace shoot a reasonable amount of darts. This is what I mean by the tier 3s. This is where the ace starts being worth a damn. Totally useful. I think it's even better than the Spectre, honestly. Probably right above the Quantards. Robo Monkey. This upgrade's fairly expensive. It will double the projectiles for you. And I think it's a 50% attack speed boost, but for $9,000, that's a pretty steep price for that kind of boost. I mean, especially if you're going 1-2 to 1-3, you're better off buying another 1-2 instead. But if you're going 2-2 to 2-3, it's worth it. So, I probably have this below Laser Blasts. Yeah, right below it would be good. Alright, the MIB. This is BTD5, not BTD6. All this MIB is really going to do in most cases is let stuff pop leads, but I'm going to just be real with you right now. If you got $4,600, I think you already got a lead defense. I'd be shocked if you don't already. Now, this does also allow, like, explosions to pop white zebra, so there's that there, too, but that ain't much of a boost. Oh, and ice towers to pop white balloons, but it ain't that much of a boost. I don't think it's really worth it. I never get it. If this was BTD6, it'd be way higher, but 5, and a lot of stuff has lead popping power, and the other two types, white and black, you're probably going to have other stuff that can deal with those anyway, so they're just a whatever. Definitely a lower one. Yeah, that's good. Call to Arms. This is an upgrade that also to me ain't that worth it. For $20,000, you get an ability that doubles attack speed for 10 seconds, but the cooldown is 60 seconds. So you need 6 of these for you to have full cooldown, which is just, no, this is not worth it. You're better off just getting better defense. I would say it's better than the MIB, but like just barely. Jungle Drums. This is one of the better village upgrades. Where's Monkey Fort? Right up here. I would say right around here. The 50% attack speed may not sound like much, but with how big the village radius is, even without the premium upgrade, which we're not factoring in here because I don't use those, it's pretty good. I'm running out of words to say because, like, oh my god, I did not expect it to take this long. Yeah. Honestly, you two are gonna get bumped to the bottom of B. Actually, I think even Monkey Fort's better than those. B- with y'all. Told you I was gonna move stuff as I go. Alrighty, the bottom tier 4 for the banana farm. I think this is a bit underrated. This will generate you a decent amount of money, especially for its cost. I think it actually generates more money than a the other tier 4 does. But the problem that kind of ruins this is you're forced to get value bananas first. If there was a way to just remove that upgrade and just go right there, I'll save the $4,000 since you don't even need those upgrades when you get the banks anymore anyways. And that upgrade's trash anyways. Most of your money that you're gaining from this is the interest, since you're just going to get a base 630 with this and 1260 with this every time, so who cares about the valuable bananas upgrade at that point? Let me just skip it. But because I can't, we gotta factor in the fact that you gotta get that. So that does ruin it a lot. I would say the underrated farming option, I would have to say, probably top of C+. When it comes to the tier 4 farming method, it's probably the lower one, but alright. Here's an underrated upgrade in my opinion. In fact, the only upgrade on the mortar that I think is worth it. And that's because not only do you get an ability that stuns all balloons on screen for about 5 seconds, bigger balloons will be stunned less. Z1Gs basically are barely stopped. It also triples its attack speed. So you get that along with the ability for 8 grand. I think that makes it worth it by adding the tripled attack speed in. A only mortar upgrade worth a damn, that's for sure. I'd put it right below the Mob Shredder. Boomer's a little bit better. Pirates is a little bit better. Spiked Mines. This upgrade's really good. However, 15 grand is a bit of a steep price to pay in this game. That is a lot. But if you do get one of these, your exit's covered. Unless if Moabs aren't making close to your exit, you're good. So, but at the same time, you can, for the same price, you can do the ice combo and have an ability to slow down Moab. So that definitely hurts it a ton. I'd rather do Mob Shredder spam than use these. When I get Spike Factories, I get to the 3rd tier and stop. So I'd probably have it right between these two. Alrighty, the Spike Storm. Definitely very good. It doesn't boost the base tower at all, but being able to lay a carpet of spikes anywhere basically means shit ton of damage to all Mob class balloons right off the bat. And that is definitely needed with this thing. I'd have it as one of the A- abilities. For sure. I'd say right below the first strike, just because this can be abused a lot more. Even if I think without any bugs or any microing, this is better. But this can just be abused way more. Razor Rotors. This upgrade is kind of poopy buns, especially if you're using Pursuit. It'll basically never ever use this. But even if you are using this, barely matters. Does give you lead popping. That's nice, I guess, but you basically need the micro, the helicopter, in order to use this thing. I would honestly say it's even worse than the camo upgrades. It's better than Pursuit, though. At least. I'd say right in between these two. Overclock. Something that is way better in BTD6 than it is in BTD5. But this ability is pretty good. Especially because you could basically infinitely keep 2 towers overclocked. Based on how short the recharge time is and how long the overclock lasts. Though, having to spend 14 grand, I think, to get it is, ooh, that's a lot. And for someone like me, who typically has a lot of towers, not just 1 or 2, I don't see myself using this a whole lot. I'd rather just get more defense than get this. But I can see its use. It's definitely better than the Cleansing Foam. Definitely better than the Spectre. Definitely better than a lot of these. There we go. That's a good spot for now. Alrighty. Alright, I might get clowned on for this, but this is an underrated upgrade. This sucks in all balloons in its range and just holds them in place, which sounds on paper, but if you get 3 of these, all balloons anywhere near wherever you place those 3, permanently stuck forever. The worst part about this upgrade is being forced to get the shitty triple barrel upgrade first. If you could skip that, then this would be a whole lot better. But because of that, it ruins it a lot. Not to mention, like I said, that combo costs 30k. There are way better options to snap balloons at that price, so... It is enough, in my opinion, to save it from being in D, but that's it. Just right at the bottom of C-. Alright, the reactor. If we weren't factoring in glitches, this would probably be right around where the super vac is. But when you... The thing is, this game likes to lie with its descriptions a ton. This does indeed stack. So if you're using either of those two, broken. However, if you're not using it for its ability cooldown, trash. This thing doesn't pop like anything. The support stuff, for whatever stupid reason, it doesn't reveal everything. The balloon has to be in the range for a while before it actually reveals it. So that hurts this just a shit ton and makes the popping, basically, even in a good placement, pop like a zebra or a rainbow at best. So that just kills it a ton, but that glitch, being able to abuse that helps. But, yeah. I mean, it's effectively a ring of fire that removes camo, so, yeah. Kind of a good spot for that. That's glue soak, right? I'm pretty sure that's glue soak. Yes. This is the best glue, the second best glue upgrade. By far. Letting it stick to all layers, this is what makes glue gunners worth a damn. Stickier glue, you could even live without that if you want, but this, oh my god, you need it. Required. 100% no matter what you're doing. So much that I would say it's an A tier. But where an A? Not above the, I would say right at the bottom of A. That's probably around where the next glue gunner upgrade will do. Alright. Base Buccaneer. That's going to be an interesting one. I'm going to swap those two. Base Buccaneer has a dart with a decent pierce, but I just don't use water towers that much. Water towers are always hurt by the fact that not every map has water, so the ones that do, this helps a lot. Buck has good pierce as a 0-0. Where's the engineer? You're going right below him. Longer cannons. This doesn't really improve its range that much. It's kind of close to like what the 2 tack shooter upgrades combined do. So I would probably put it somewhat close. I would say it's better than the... Yeah, but then again, it's better than the Crow's Nest upgrade. Barely, though. Not much better. You can totally skip the tier 2s for the bucks if you want. If you just want to spam bucks down, go 1-1. That'll be... That's all you need. You don't need the rest. Alright. This is bigger bombs, right? Yes. I don't think it even improves the blast radius that much. Let me see. Oh, yeah, that's like a 50%, it looks like. Definitely a decent amount, but... And blast radius is already pretty small. It doesn't really help too much, but... It's kind of meant to be a stepping stone for other upgrades, so even if it wasn't on the bottom path and it was on the top instead, you would definitely be getting this. And I think it's better than the range upgrade and the frag bombs. Better than that. Yeah, there we go. That's a good spot. If it let me put it there. Missile launcher, the upgrade that makes bomb shooters worth it. This is definitely the second best bomb shooter upgrade. We'll get to the best later, but this basically kind of like Luso, required for this tower to even be worth anything. So I think it has to go in A- for that. All right, snap freeze. Not necessarily that needed, but it's good for the early game. When you get to late game, you almost don't even need it. Even Ice Sharks doesn't need it to attack. If you got something that can pop frozen balloons near it, then it will do that, but getting this makes it a lot easier. I would say it's better than the corrosive glue, but probably only a tad bit above. I think right there. It's a good spot. Alright, that's permafrost, I think, right? And then, yes. Permafrost is one of the cheapest upgrades in the game, and I think it's underrated. It, like, slows down. It's basically, like, the same amount of slowdown, I think, that mobs get from the Absolute Zero for only $90. Now, unlike the Absolute Zero, it's not permanent. I think it only lasts one layer. So, it's only really useful for the early game. It's like a little bit worse, stickier glue. So, I'd probably put it close there. And Deep Freeze is an upgrade that can definitely be skipped. You can freeze one extra layer. It does mean the permafrost will last for one extra layer too. But, you don't really need this. If you're doing the top path, you can skip this upgrade completely. Actually, you can even skip... permafrost is so cheap, you might as well keep it unless you're going instantly to 3. But this, you can skip regardless of where you're going. Definitely, minus Final Frost, the worst upgrade for the Ice Tower. I would say it's probably right below there. Fireball. This actually makes the wizard do a decent amount of damage, and it's super cheap. It's like the same cost of intense magic. And it gives it basically the bomb shooter for half its price built into the tower. There you go. It already had lead popping, but that makes its lead popping even better. I think it's better than the Piers upgrades, better than that. Not better than the range, though. How many we got? Oh my god. We got like 30 something. Alright, Monkey Sense gives camo. Now, I think out of all the gives only camo upgrades, this is definitely the best. Just because the wizard itself is already pretty cheap. And usually when you're using a wizard, the only reason you really need it is a quick camo and lead defense tower. So, wherever all the camo upgrades are, you definitely could be a pretty significant margin above them. Even if that's all you do. I'd say, right at the top of C-. Alrighty, that's Bernie stuff, I think, right? No, it's not. What is it then? Bigger Blast? Yeah, it's Bigger Blast. Which I think actually does do a decent radius bigger. I think Bigger Bombs actually has a bigger upgrade than that. And Bigger Bombs is cheaper, so I would definitely put it below where I put that. all the stuff I said about bigger bombs basically the same for this upgrade, so not much to really say. Worse than twin guns. I think spike factories are better. Yeah, right there. Rapid reload. Now, this is actually a pretty significant attack speed boost. I think it's like 50%. I would say this is like close to twin guns level of a boost for the mortar, especially because it really does need an attack speed boost to help it get more balloons better, so probably right above the base chipper. Increased accuracy for dartling gunners. Depends on where you're putting your dartling gunner. If it's far away from the entrance or exit, then you don't really, that's when you really need this, but otherwise, nah. But it's also only 200, so it's kind of in line to where the camo upgrades are, where it kind of depends on your situation if it even helps you or not, so I'm going to put it right near them. Powerful darts. Adds 3 pierce for the dartling gunner, which is a big amount for only $500, especially because the dartling gunner is something you kind of want high pierce with. So it can deal with both Moabs and balloon clusters. One of the better tier 1s, I've got to say. Let's see, probably a full metal jacket level of greatness. Yeah, that's probably good. Alright, increased production. I'd say that's a better upgrade. Yeah, the bigger stacks actually theoretically does give more. Probably above frag bombs. It's a little bit better than that. There we go. Sorry, but I'm like running out of things to say. Oh my god, I want to get this over with so bad. I did not realize it'd take this freaking long to do this, so I'm not editing any of this, by the way, either. I don't even have to edit the break because I can just click pause. Alright, the base heli pilot is not a good base tower. It is so expensive. I feel like just getting a dartling gunner over this thing is way better. But we haven't even ranked the base dartling gunner yet, so that's kind of tricky. I would say even that's better. Right in between these two, I'd say. Alrighty. This, out of all the range upgrades, is by far the biggest. I think this straight up doubles the engineer's range, and it makes its sentry shoot better. However, boosted range is a bad thing if you're going with balloon trap, because you probably want the traps to be close to the entrance. This could actually make it so that it's less likely to do that. But in any other situation, this is nothing but a great thing, so I'd say a little bit above cleansing foam. If it wasn't for the fact, if you could, like in BTD6, target where the trap would go, easy A tier, but no. That ends up being a bit of a detriment. Alright, barbed darts. Pretty good, I might say. Adding, I think it's 3 extra piers. I forget how much, actually. Let me see real quick. Oh, it only adds 1 pierce. Never mind, I thought it added more than that. Yeah, I think just 1 pierce for the price of another sub, effectively. It's just, ooh, yeah, that ain't as good as I thought that'd be. That's probably the lower tier for upgrades as a tier 1. I would say it's just a hair above the camo upgrades. Ooh, we got another really good one. And that is the Mauler. This is one of the cheapest ways to get good Moab defense. But once you get to like the BFBZ1G level, you need a ton of these things for them to be worth it. Though it is definitely an A tier. One of the few ones that I think is worth being up there. So much that I think it's right below the Balloon Jitsu. On the other hand, its ability. It doesn't get an increased damage, but its ability has a pretty decent cooldown charge time, and it can one-shot, though not the ceramics inside, any Moab, so that's cool to have. Definitely other abilities that are better than that, so this definitely falls off a bit, but I would say it's better than the base sniper. Probably right in between those two. The balloon dissolver. This basically makes glue gunners really worth it. Unless you're using them strictly to slow balloons down, then you would get glue hose instead. This upgrade is great. It's a great thing to deal with ceramics if you are either can't or don't want to use ice towers, especially when combined with the monkey fort. Definitely one of the better tier 3s. And I would probably put it definitely above there, above. I think bottom of A- would work. Nah, I think that's where glue hose would be, because that's more likely needed to be useful. Thing is, ice towers accomplish the popping so much that you don't really need this too much. It's nice to have, but you don't necessarily need it. That's probably good. That's glue hose, right? Or is that glue striker? Oh, that's glue striker. Never mind. I thought we were about to be able to put that one right there. But no, glue striker, easy F. That's the worst thing in the game. Except maybe the big one. Honestly, for $6,000, you get an ability to glue every balloon on screen. Really, 6K is what another glue hose would basically cost. So just buy another one and put it where your one glue hose can't cover. You're basically going to cover the whole screen anyways, and that's practically permanent. Really no need to ever get this upgrade ever. It is just pointless. If it could do so, if it worked like in BTD5 where it could stick to Moabs and then it does double damage to them, then yeah, it's worth it, but no. Easy F right there. That might be the second to last, third to last F tier. Fourth to last F tier. But you're wondering which ones are F. Haha. You'll find out later. Even if I actually put them there. I might put them higher. But Destroyer. This is one I would use boats for usually. Because this upgrade is really, really, really cost effective. You get it much better damage. And it's decent against regular Moabs and below. I'd say right below the Sun God, actually. You know what? Move those a bit. You up a little bit, you up a bit more, and you up a bit more, and you... Yeah, I think actually moving that down would be useful. Alright, I don't know what that is. I think that's never miss. Yeah, that's never miss targeting. Never miss targeting, yet half the darts always miss. F. That'd be funny as a meme, but it's not actually F. But for $1,800, you would think something called never miss targeting would make the darts never miss. But it feels like only a couple of them actually seek on, so it's just... It really ain't worth it. It's like deep freeze level. You can totally skip it. You want to get Spectre, you can really just stop at the 2 seconds if you want. Or do what I do, buy a Operation Dartstorm, and then when I finally get enough money, sell it and buy the other one. Probably like right above. Probably, I think it's a little better than those. Yeah, right below the camo upgrades. The Monkey Bank, the regular one. This one, this upgrade is kind of... You're only getting this because you gotta get the other one. It's okay. It's not much worse than the other bank upgrade. But there's no point of spamming these down. You're better off going all the way, so... Probably the only farm tier for C. Where though? Yeah, that's probably good. The big one. Top of F, I would say. You get a little bit bigger blast radius and 3 extra damage. For a whopping, on medium, $10,000. Let's do some quick math real quick. According to the sell value I have right now, that's $12,700 for 5 damage. You don't want to know how much 3 balloon busters cost? Including with the Bernie stuff upgrade? They cost $3,000 each. So you're effectively burning away $3,700 buying this upgrade. Just get more balloon busters instead. You would only ever get this is if the map is completely full. So the only thing you could do is upgrade your balloon busters. Do not get this upgrade. Avoid it entirely. Alright, Bernie, that's Signal Flare, not Bernie stuff. Yeah, Bernie stuff's one of the last ones. This is Signal Flare. Not as useful as you would think, because of how slow the mortar's attack speed is. And when you want camo detection for other towers, you want, like, all the camo balloons to get detected, not just about, like, half of them. Definitely not really that worth it, but it's also not that bad either. It'll help you a little bit, but most cases, just go get a tower that can pop camo. You don't need this. Definitely better than the Cripple Moab, though. Laser Cannon. This is actually not that bad of an upgrade. The problem is, the rockets, the Hydro Rocket pods are just better. They're about the same price, too. Laser Blast also only does 1 damage. The Hydro Rocket pods could do multiple damage to the same target if there's other stuff nearby, so not something that'd be worth using. I'd say it's just a tier worse than the Super Vac. And then the Ray of Doom sounds great, but for $60,000 you get a tower that does trash mob damage. Like, if I'm spending that much money, you better be able to at the very least deal with Moabs okay. But no, it really don't do much. It'll deal with any balloon, but that's it. Not worth the insane price tag. I'd say it's just a hair above the Liquefier. Hydro Rocket Pods is definitely one of the better Dirtling gun upgrades. You can do a lot of damage to single targets if you get just literally anything to spawn near it, so you can get multiple explosions to be triggered. Better than the, how high should this go? I think it's A-worthy, honestly. Yeah, top of A. I think that's worth it. And you know what? The bads can go up there, too. You're getting, because the bads actually upgrades the tower itself, unlike some of the other tier 4s. Down the bottom path. You add 2 more rockets and a decent ability to help deal with a bunch of spam the balloons on the screen. It's okay, but I think the rocket pods itself is a little bit better of an upgrade, because you could just buy 3 more of those in place of this if you really want. Probably right at the bottom of A. Spike Ball Factory, that's one of my favorite upgrades, but it also ain't the best. It's decent for ceramics. This is kind of the Spike Factory side you use to clean up regular balloons. But there are just way better options to deal with that than getting one of these. And one of these ain't as good as you might expect. So, C+ for me, but where in C+? Probably right below the temple. Triple Barrel, another F tier. Never under any circumstances get this. The only reason you would buy this upgrade is to get the Super Bag, which even then, the Super Bag is very niche of when you would be using that. And you know what? I love you, Super Bag. I think even the Cripple Moab might be better than you. I'm putting you down a little bit more. Triple Barrel, I feel like this thing does like basically nothing for the price of a super wide funnel. Like, just, whew, man, you suck. You are just poopy buns. Why do you exist? At least, hey, don't worry. At least you're not worse than the Glue Striker. At least it does something, even that something is nearly nothing. In fact, you know what? I still think the Lateral Frost is worse than that. Alright, the base Ace. Almost F tier, honestly. Very close to F tier. But I think it gets a slight edge because it's not that expensive. D. base mortar is okay. It's a decent way at popping regular leads, but it attacks too slow to be worthwhile for pretty much anything else. And if you need just lead defense, a wizard is definitely better. So not one of the good base towers. Probably just a hair above those. Dartling Gunner. This is probably the best base tower. For like $900, you get a really fast, basically a tower that attacks almost the same speed as the Super Monkey, and I think it has 2 pierce. It is definitely the best base tower. So high, in fact, that I would say, even as a base, spamming Dartling Gunners is really a huge W. I would almost put this in A, but I think even, you know what? You're going up a bit. Alrighty, Glue Splatter. This is the best glue upgrade. This is what really makes glue work, especially when in a monkey fort. I would totally have this thing up real high. But I do think Glue Soak is ever so slightly better. And I actually want to move Glue Soak up. Actually, wait, that's Glue Soak up here. I think Glue Soak is just ever so slightly better. But I do actually want to move it up a bit. Yeah, there. Alrighty, Glue Hose. This is a decent upgrade. I think it's a little bit better than the Dissolver, just for the fact of I use the Dissolver, I use the Glue Gunner a lot for damage, but a lot of people also use the Glue Gunner strictly to slow things down. And the Glue Hose basically makes it so it won't miss. It'll hit everything. You don't even need to use the fort bug to make this thing work well, so. Right at, nah, I think you are better. Yeah. In fact, I'm actually moving you down another tier. I changed my mind about you, Prime. You're a little bit worse than I'd think. Alright, faster firing. Decent upgrade. It's like getting a little bit close to another ace, but I don't have much to really say for these tier 1s. Right above the ace. I think that's sharp darts, right? Yes. But what's the pierce? Wait. Is that adds 5? Oh, it does 8 balloons each, so. My god, I'm trying to get a damn ace to hit balloons because I don't. Oh my god, I just missed. Ace when you try and do literally anything with its base levels. Yeah, it does 4 pierce, so this adds 4 more. This is alright, but the ace itself's problem isn't the pierce, honestly. It's the fact that its darts just always miss, so. Like with most of the aces tier 4s, it's just kinda, yeah, it exists. I would put it down, like, let's see. Spy Plane's another camo upgrade. And you know what? I'm going to bump the camo upgrades down to D. And you just pop leads and frozen. You should go down a bit too. Balloon Buster. This is actually a pretty decent mortar upgrade too. Though I would usually prefer the 4th tier on the bottom. You get an extra damage and a little bit bigger blast radius for the price of another mortar monkey, so. Actually, I think it's hold on, I think it's a tad cheaper than another mortar, right? Because it's 680. I think. Yeah, it's 800. It's a little bit more expensive. But still, that's like placing another mortar. No, man, given how it's just barely more expensive, it really helps with packing more damage into its explosion. I'm moving Monkey Sense down a bit. We're gonna put you Some of these I definitely gotta move. You gotta get moved down to... That's pretty high for a lead popping only upgrade. Well, we got 2 more left. Let's get those over with before we move things. Alright, Bernie stuff. Ain't as good as you think. This, does 3 damage over time for $500 for everything it hits, which is alright, but if you want damage over time effect, get a glue gunner. That's better for that. And it slows stuff down, too. Not totally worth it. But it is better than the signal flare. Probably just a hair better. Alright, the last one, Submersion Support. Another F tier. I would say just a tad of... No, it's better. It's better than these. It's probably the bottom of F. Just because this thing almost never works. You need so much track for the damn thing to actually work. If the submersion support worked every time, the instant a balloon went in the radius, boom, revealed, this thing would actually be pretty good. You only need a teeny tiny portion of the track, but no, you basically need the whole thing. And not all courses that have water have an opportunity for that to be worth it. As cheap as this is, it could barely be used, especially when you don't factor in the fact that you could use pools. Alright, the tier list is done. 2.5 hours in. But, do I want to move anything around? Let's see. You know, this at least occasionally has use. You can get slightly above. I love how there's 3 tier 4s in the lowest tier. This game definitely has some balance issues, that's for sure, but it ain't that bad. Definitely seen way worse. I gotta move down Red Hot Rings. This is way too high. There's just an upgrade that pops leads. I don't know what I was thinking. Probably right above the range, right around the blade shooter. Kind of wish there was a little bit more bigger of a gap. Anything else that could move? I'm gonna put Hydro Rocket Ponds at the very bottom of A+. I'm gonna get down just a teeny bit. Sun Temple can actually... Nah, let's go where it is. I'm trying to really think hard about stuff that could possibly be moved before I ramp this up and say we're all good. You guys can go up a little bit. You can go down a teeny bit. I still want them above that, though. I think that's still better than the overclock, and most shutters better than the overclock. I think Apache could probably be down a little bit more. I'd still think that those are better. Well, was that in A tier at the start and now it's in B+? Spectre might be able to move down a bit. Yeah. I could probably move the... I'd say it's a little bit worse than Spike Mines, and that you should be right below it. I think we're doing alright. I think that's pretty good. Pretty much explain like my reasoning behind every single one. That way when I send this in a Discord server, I mean, people will have spots. They can just skip through the video though, because IS is not going through typing captions for however many. There's 9 total for each, so. $21 times 9 is 189. Man, that's a shit ton. Quant arts being that high though. You should be a bit higher. I think you're better than corrosive blue. Better than permafrost. Permafrost, as great as that is, I mean, it's not really that great for early game. Boop you down. I just find it funny how the tier 3s and 4s for the ice tower are in A, but then then one of them's in F. Because this thing is just that freaking bad. I think even a Ray of Doom should be better than that. Even the Liquefier could be better than this. Really trying to think hard. Not the only thing hard right now. I think that's it. I don't see anything I fully disagree with right now. This seems pretty fair. I think it's fair to have for this just popping leads and frozen. That's pretty high because, I mean, it is one of the better ones. I think that's still better than those. I know this is just a camo popping one, but that's kind of what makes the wizard even worthwhile. I think lightning can go down. I still use it more than that, though. This is a little high. But then you have to move this down, too. Because, I mean, this is basically this, but can remove camo. But it needs water. That's the thing. Move you do down a little bit. Well, actually, if you have a slight edge, just because you're a land tower. I mean, the only reason this thing even weight. Then again, that bug is huge. That basically counteracts the need for water, then. Where'd I put the base farm? Oh, pretty low in D. Just because the base farm ain't that great. I'm glad I actually went through and did all this. I actually probably put the glaive lord, honestly. Way lower than that. That's a bit high for it. I think even laser blast is better than glaive lord. You're bumping down a whole ass tier. Increased pierce, though, is probably more useful than either of these. Those this stuff up actually just a teeny tiny bit. I think I'm calling that good. I think that's it. That is my BTD5 tier list ranking. I might make some changes in the future, but for now, I'm pretty satisfied with that. That basically it. And you know what? For the final frame, we're gonna zoom out all the way and get a. Okay, it has to be 30. Let's be typo precise. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to, whatever. There you go. That'll be the ending frame. You get to see the whole thing. right in view. That's gonna be basically it. Goodbye.